excited to have you here. I think the last time I saw you was on the subway or metro, I guess, in Montreal on the way to like school. And so we went to elementary school together. This is something that people for sure don't know. So like grew up in the same neighborhood. I remember you being like one of the cute boys that all the girls loved,
There was love
including myself.
triangles. There was love
Love
triangles
triangles,
going on.
right? With like Fabio. Oh my God, what a good
Wow.
time. And it was like we
Yeah.
like the what was the big step to like hold hands or hug? We
Oh,
weren't we were not
hugging was intense.
we were not the elementary school that started kissing. Like when I met friends in high school who started kissing, I'm like, oh, excuse me? Come again? Like you're a child. Anyways, it didn't come long after, I guess. But anyway, so last time I saw you, I was thinking back. I'm like, I'm pretty sure it was on the metro in Montreal going to Dawson College, which is CEGEP. It's like a pre-university program for anyone who's not from Quebec. And you were studying acting there, from my understanding. And since then, I basically haven't seen you or heard from you, nothing. And then suddenly fall upon one of your hilarious reels on Instagram reacting to scenes from Love is Blind. And then I was like, oh my God, this guy is doing amazing things. You were hilarious. So obviously I started following you. And then when I started this podcast, I was like, it's a no-brainer. I want to have you on. So I'm curious, what the hell have you been up to? Like what happened since CEGEP
Since
all those years ago?
since elementary school?
Yeah, since elementary school. Let's go back. How many years?
Wow. Yeah, I don't know. Well, ever since I went to theater school, I've been pursuing being an actor.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's what I've been doing, and then got into social media. I started in social media or doing content creation, funny videos,
Mm-hmm.
during the pandemic. So that's kind of a theme with a lot of people that are creating content right now. It's
Went
just
viral during COVID.
yeah. Well, it was more just acting, because acting is very, it's like being an entrepreneur. It's like being a freelancer. It's very up and down. It's all over the place. You'll have really good years and then you'll have very bad years. And as soon as the pandemic hit, it was a rough year for me as an actor, and I needed some sort of creative outlet. So I turned to creating content. And I already had a lot of the skill sets that you needed to make content. I'm also a video editor as well. I learned.
Oh yeah, you edited your wedding video. That's true. You just got married.
Yes.
Congratulations, by the way.
Thank you. I did. Yeah, I really enjoyed editing my wedding video. I thought it was really
I saw
nice.
you commented how you were crying the whole time.
I was. I was.
I had a videographer do my wedding video, but like I'm in the creative industry too, so I asked for like unlimited revisions, which like is his nightmare, but my dream. But I just like, I have a creative, mind, and I knew what I wanted. So I was helping him with like the post-production, and even same with me, like I was crying the whole time.
Yeah. It was seeing all the raw footage. It was seeing even the footage I didn't use.
Yeah.
Just, it was a beautiful thing, because I feel like a lot of people don't get to see that,
Yeah, he gave me the raw footage. It was cool.
That's it. All the little moments, and people just partying and people having fun and just all that, It was a beautiful thing to go through.
Yeah, makes sense. Okay, let's go back. We got sidetracked. What were we talking about? I want to. Okay, so you went to theater school. Were you was Dawson College technically theater school? Like in
yeah, they have
something after.
No, they have a theater program in Dawson. Instead of doing 2 years of CEGEP, you do 3.
Okay,
it's like a career program.
Yeah, I did that too. Yeah.
And what did you do it in?
Graphic design.
Oh.
It was a 3-year program too.
Nice.
Surprise. It's like we're getting to know each other all over again.
Did not prepare you probably for the real world at all.
Honestly, kind of.
Oh, okay.
I loved it. I thought it was an amazing program. I know they're all super different, but for me, I came out with a lot of practical skills. And then I went to university after, which was a lot more in terms of like conceptual, theoretical presentations, things like that, which like I think it helped. I think I had a leg up because I had so many of those practical skills, like knowing how to use the programs and edit and create.
For sure.
So like everything that I did looked amazing. Whereas some people came from just like communications programs with like an intro course to like, Illustrator. Whereas I spent 3 years like perfecting these programs. So
yeah, like a technical skill set that a lot of people didn't have. Yeah,
exactly. Why, you didn't feel the same about your program?
Acting is weird.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You can't tangibly like learn acting and that skill set. It's just it's a hard thing to measure.
Mm. Do
Um,
you feel like it's more from experience? Like you kind of need
mhm.
experience and being on set because you're taking classes in acting, but you're not necessarily acting. But you guys did plays and stuff, right?
Yeah, but it's not the same being on set
No.
and doing it for a living. It's just nothing can teach you more than being on set.
What would you say is like missing if you were to go back, let's say, like now knowing what you know and experiencing acting on set because you've been, you know, landing a ton of roles and we'll get into that too. You were on
Mhm.
Hulu, City TV, Lionsgate, Focus Features, like hello. You know, so what's the difference? Like what's missing out of school that you wish you had?
I just think a lot of I guess it really depends on the theater school and the school you go to, but even in a lot of times when you talk to actors that have gone to other schools, they all have the same experiences.
Okay.
A lot of the teachers are probably there for the wrong reasons, and
In what sense?
in the sense that maybe they wanted to be actors and now they're teachers.
Okay. So you're learning
You
from
know?
people who didn't make it, basically.
Yeah, basically. I mean, not all theater schools, but still. And then
Hmm.
there's just a lot of manipulation in theater school, and there's a lot of as an actor, you're learning how to use your emotions, and some teachers have very toxic ways to teach and try to manipulate your emotions. It's a very
Oh,
dangerous thing because
wait, I need to know
yeah,
more. Like, give me an example.
well, it's just trying to break people down.
Really?
Yeah, trying to break you down and say you're not good enough, and they're trying to instill in you that like in the real world no one's going to help you, so we need to break you down to to nothing, so you need to be able to figure it out for yourself. But that is not a good way to like you're supposed to leave theater school or acting school with confidence, and a lot of people
Hmm.
just don't because of the way that they teach.
Right, because
um
that teaching method doesn't necessarily sit well with everybody. Like some people
no.
may see
Hmm.
that as like fuel, I guess,
Yeah.
but I can also see how that would impact you mentally, being like, well, they think I'm shit, so and there's only so much you can prove, right? Is there any point where you feel there's a shift where they're like, wow, good job? Do you ever get like a pat on the back?
Maybe some people, and I think that's the issue too, is like everyone
Yeah.
has a different experience. Like my experience in theater school is very different than even my wife, who I met in theater school.
Oh, cool.
um so she's an actor as well. There's also favoritism like teachers have
Mm,
favoritism towards certain actors, and
yeah.
so there's that dynamic, and so it's just a very I would, if anyone wants to be an actor, just go find a class. Like there's so many specifically in Toronto, there's so many classes. There's so
Hmm.
many coaches
Yeah.
who can help you learn the basics. Sorry, help you learn the basics, help you build your craft, and it's you'll learn what I learned in 3 years. You'll learn in 6 months. I feel like it's way better just to go to get a coach. Go
Yeah.
private coach is so much better.
Interesting.
Yeah,
Interesting perspective. So since you've moved to Toronto, when was that? How
yeah.
long have you been in Toronto now? Because you're from
Oh
Montreal.
wow. 5 years ago.
No
5 years
way.
ago.
Wait,
Yeah.
this is so I'm pretty sure we must have lived in Toronto at the same time.
You lived in Toronto?
Yeah.
When did you when did you live in Toronto?
2019.
Okay, like right before the pandemic?
Well, the whole year before.
Yeah.
So that whole year, we moved like at the end, like New Year 2018 to 2019.
Okay.
My husband's in the Air Force, so he was based there for a year. And before that, he was doing all his like flight training in God knows where. So I decided to like stay in Montreal while he did that for a few years. And then moving to Toronto, obviously, it's like I would love to live in Toronto. So we did that. And now we live just outside of Toronto, like an hour and a half out, but because the Air Force base is here. But yeah, we
Oh,
were
okay.
there for a year. So we were in the city at the same time. It's crazy. Like had I followed you on social media, I would have like put an effort and said like, hey, we should like go grab a coffee or something because it's been forever. It would have been kind of fun, blast from the past.
Yeah. Well, I wasn't making any content at that time, so I probably wouldn't have showed up on your
Yeah,
feed.
maybe. Well, no, but like the fact that I knew
Yeah.
you, you know how like sometimes you have like suggested people to
Yeah.
follow or whatever. But honestly, I don't think I follow many people from elementary school. I mean, it's been a while.
No. I hardly follow people from high school, to be honest with you. So.
Same, true. I have like no friends from high school.
Yeah.
Well, there's
Yeah.
that. Okay, cool. So Toronto. So you're saying there's a ton of options in Toronto in terms of stuff. So have you been doing that in the last 5 years? And this is where you feel like you've learned the most?
Yeah, well, I booked a lot of stuff in Montreal too. I think it's a good place to
Okay.
learn, a good place to get smaller roles and get
Mhm.
smaller jobs, because there is an acting community there, and there are
Yeah.
films that and shoot there and stuff. But in Toronto, it's the hub of Canada. So if you want
Hmm.
to be an actor, if you want to make this full time, you have to come to Toronto, and you have to live in that expensive rent, and you
Yeah.
and you
Fuck.
have
So
to.
expensive.
Yeah, it's just a crazy city, but you get used to it. Coming from Montreal to Toronto was kind of crazy though. It was wow.
I
There
loved it.
That was a shock money wise. It was a shock.
Yes.
Just
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. Rent
but I love
is
Toronto
something
too. Yeah.
else. Yeah. I love Toronto so much too. So what is like the most like pivotal thing that has happened in the last 5 years? Because you've landed a lot of roles. So I have here
Hmm.
Hardy Boys on Hulu. Was that like one of your bigger ones? What was your biggest role that you've landed since moving? Or I guess in general, because it could have been even 5 years before that, right? In Montreal.
Yeah, I don't know. They're all kind of similar. It's
Yeah.
so hard to be an actor. Like
Yeah.
to fully live off acting, you basically need to be a series regular on a TV show.
Yeah. So what do
And
you
so
do?
that
Do you do something else on the side?
that's why I do so many other things. That's why
Hmm.
I'm an actor, content creator, and a video editor. I make money doing all those things.
Okay,
So
cool.
things come and go, and
Yeah.
that's how I make a living. It's very weird. It's very like out there. Most people
Hmm.
do not want to live this way. They're probably scared to because it's very you got to trust it.
Inconsistent. Yeah, that's
Oh
it. It's
yeah,
inconsistent. No, I mean it's similar when you're running a
yeah.
business. Like for me, I
Hmm.
work for myself. If I don't put the effort out, like it doesn't come. Luckily, I've built a reputation over the years where now a lot of people come for referrals, this and that. But I'm sure it's similar to you with your video editing. At least it's like you do a good
Hmm.
job for someone, they share, they come back to you, and all of that. But in terms of like landing these roles, so you're saying they were all similar. So what kind of
Hmm.
role did you have? How were you like involved on set? And then I also want to go into how you got those roles and like what that looks like from like an agent or agency perspective as
Hmm.
well.
So like a lot of the times I'm on set for let's say like 3 to 6 days. And so that means you're part of like one episode.
Okay.
So that's basically what I've been booking since I've been got out of theater school and been pursuing this is like, oh, well, you're part of one episode. And when you're part of one episode, sure, you make a lot of money. Like I, I talk with my wife all the time. We talk about it all the time where being an actor is like playing the lottery.
Mm,
It's, you know, tomorrow I could get an audition and I could get the part and instantly be given 20 grand. It's just
is that
playing
what
the
it
lottery.
is for one
Mhm.
episode? It's like 20 grand.
It depends how many days you do.
Okay. What's like the range?
Ugh. What do you mean range?
Like the least amount versus the most amount. Let's say you've been paid for something like
Because
this.
we're unionized. We're paid a guaranteed a certain amount a day, and then they got to buy you out. They
Okay.
buy out your rights as well. So
Mm,
basically, for one day of work, if you don't go into overtime, which you usually always go into overtime, they have to pay you more. Um, it's about $2,000 a day.
okay.
Yeah,
Sweet. And
it's
so
kind it's kind
it
it's
goes by
crazy.
day. It goes by day instead of like by the hour, but you're saying overtime. So it is technically then hourly, no? Like
Anything
the
over 8 hours, you start getting paid more.
okay. And so how do
And
they calculate that? Is it based on an hourly rate, like time and a half, kind of like another job, or is it like a lump
yeah,
sum?
there's like a crazy list that our union has built that
Okay.
if you go over this amount of hours, it's this amount, and if you go over 3 more hours, it's this amount.
Okay. Okay.
It's so hard for actors to give you a specific amount of like how much you actors make because of that.
Yeah.
And also if you have less than 5 lines, you get paid less, and if you have more than 5 lines, you get paid more. And then
Oh,
if you are a star or if you have any sort of pull because of your name, then your agent is negotiating for you on different levels,
yeah.
right?
Do you have an agent?
Yeah. I mean,
Okay.
you need an agent if you want to be an actor.
Yeah.
It's the only way you get auditions.
So it's like, is
Um,
it one person that you speak to, or are you part of like an agency where you communicate with multiple agents? How does that work?
so I have one agent.
Okay. And
I
that's the
have one.
person that calls you, you call them, what's going
Yeah.
on, what's,
Yeah.
what are the auditions? Like on average, how many auditions are you going to per month?
Well, that depends too. It depends on the time of the year
Mm-hmm.
and what's going on. Like in the winter, it's dead.
Oh
Nothing goes
yeah.
on. Yeah, nothing happens in the winter.
Mm.
And right now, it's a bit tricky because there's actors are on strike in the states.
Okay.
I don't know if you heard about that. The
No.
writers are on strike and the
Oh
actors
yeah,
are on
I did
strike.
hear about
So basically, nothing is happening right now. Uh,
that. But
Canadian
regularly.
regularly, let's say like six.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is that normal? Because I feel like, for example, if you were to compare it to LA, do you know
hmm
anyone who's there who's trying to pursue acting in Los Angeles?
No, not really. Not like close enough that I would know the information.
I feel I have a couple of friends there. They're not in acting, but I feel like they would maybe know. Like I'd be curious to ask what the difference is there because you would assume
hmm
that there are many more opportunities to go and audition. And like I've heard that
Yeah.
people go like to a couple a week and it's just like constant like no, 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 rejection, rejection. And that's kind of the name of the game. It's like there are more no's than yeses, but when you get that yes, it's like a fucking celebration, right?
Yeah, it's a lot of no's. I get told no
Yeah.
so much. I think it also depends the where you're at in your career. Like
Hmm.
I only audition for parts that are sizable. That are, so I audition a lot for series regulars or leads and stuff,
Yeah.
and that's what my agent sends me out for. And so I'm
Hmm.
not really auditioning for the smaller parts. So because of
Right.
that, there's only a certain amount of TV shows and movies that have those big parts, right? They're
Hmm.
not constantly turning them out. And so because of that, I'm going to have less auditions, but they're going to be a lot, they're going to be worth more in some
Right,
sense.
right. So, do you see, like, why did you make that shift? Because I'm thinking if you were to even go to some of the smaller ones, yeah, you might not make as much, but
hmm
wouldn't that help build relationships? Maybe you meet the people on set, they get to know you, that might open up other doors and opportunities. Like,
Yeah.
why choose to kind of shut yourself out of those smaller opportunities aside from, the monetary amount? Is that really the only thing driving you in terms of what auditions you're going to?
Yeah, it's not really the money. Um, I've already built my resume with a lot of those roles over the
Okay.
years because I've been doing this for 10 years. And
Yeah.
so I've already built a lot of those roles and did that to get on my resume.
Hmm.
Um, a lot of times it's how casting directors see you. So how it works is you have an agent and
Yeah.
casting directors reach out to agents. They have these relationships with the agents and that's how you get the audition, right? And so when your agent submits you for these bigger roles, casting directors see you as, oh, this is an actor that is capable of these roles,
Got
right?
it.
They kind of put you
They
in
have faith
boxes.
in you. Yeah.
They have faith in you, and so they also don't. They want to put you in those roles because they trust you. And there's not a lot of actors that get those opportunities a lot of time. I think it takes a lot of time to build up to get those type of opportunities. And like anything, things just take time, and you
Yeah.
need to prove yourself. And you gotta. The casting director has to have trust in you. Your agent has to have trust in you, and so it's just it takes time, right? And then even when you get those opportunities, it doesn't mean anything. It doesn't guarantee you any. It means something because obviously you're doing something good and means you're a good actor, but it doesn't guarantee that you're gonna book those jobs.
Hmm.
I'm so used to rejection at this point.
Yeah.
Um,
It must be tough though. Like, how do you deal with that mentally to
I think
like still believe in yourself after all the
yeah,
no's?
I think at first it's hard,
Hmm.
but then I don't know. I have a lot of belief in myself. You
Yeah.
just don't think about it.
Hmm.
If you don't think about it, you do the audition, and now a lot of auditions happen from home. You don't even go
Oh,
in. Yeah, because of COVID, it transitioned to
yeah.
you shoot yourself on camera, and then you just send it in. So you send it in, and you don't. It's gone. You move on.
Do you
You don't
prefer
even.
that or do you prefer going in person? Because sometimes you get like feedback from the people
Mhm.
behind the camera, right?
That's the issue. That's the
Yeah.
issue now, where you don't really get the feedback anymore, and so you're
Hmm.
kind of going in blind. You don't really know what they want, and you're hoping that what you're doing is what they want. And I guess most of the time it's not.
Yeah, it's not that necessarily most of the time it's not, but sometimes they're looking for something very specific too, and
Yeah.
you might not check those boxes. Like if I relate it back to what I do with Nomad Creative,
hmm
I pitch to clients all the time for our services, whether it's branding, marketing, social media, and I put in a lot of effort and time. I have the first, call to get to know them and what they need, then put together the proposal, which takes time. Then I record myself presenting the proposal, which is something that like I like to do as a personal touch, to not have to like
Mhm.
meet with them and just send them a video, whereas other companies will just send like a PDF. I accompany it with a short video kind of outlining some stuff. Anyways, besides the point is that a lot of the times, most of the time, I would say actually, I get ghosted or it's a no, whether it has to do with the price, whether it has to do with, the fit. Maybe they found another agency that they felt was more in line with them. And in the beginning, I too was like, oh my God, what's wrong? Why wouldn't they pick me? And now I'm just like, whatever. You send it out, like you said, you kind of forget about it. If you hear back from them, you're like, great. You obviously like, I'll send those follow-up emails, but I'm like, there's only so much pushing you can do. If they're not interested, they're not interested. So it's like, why are you going to waste your time and energy on that? And affect yourself mentally. It's like, what you have to offer, just like I know what I have to offer. And if the timing is right and the fit is right, it'll happen. And if not, that's okay. Move on.
Yeah. The hard part though is if you're being rejected a lot,
Mm-hmm.
and all actors go through this, where there are years where, like I said before, there are years where you know, you book everything. You're making so much money. Doesn't
Mm-hmm.
matter what you do. It's just like, oh, you're like, this is so easy. And then there's years where nothing goes your way. And so it's easy to get really negative, and it's easy to
Yeah.
be like, why am I doing this? Being an
Mm-hmm.
actor is not for the faint-hearted. It is
Yeah.
hard,
Mm-hmm.
and very few people actually make a living off of it. Like
Yeah.
very few people. And which is, again, which is why I turned to social media, because I needed some sort of outlet that wasn't connected to the industry. It is kind of connected to the industry because it is acting, it is broad acting, but it is comedy, but it's my own thing. Like no one can touch this, no one can tell me no, no one
Yeah.
can tell me to stop doing it,
Yeah.
or all I have is me.
Yeah.
It's if I don't do it, it doesn't happen. But
Yeah.
and that's there's a lot of strength in that.
Yeah, for sure. And
Mhm.
honestly, like kudos to you for just like doing what you love and pursuing it. Like what like tip or advice would you give to someone who really does want to make it in acting? Because like it
Mhm.
sounds like it is difficult, it is challenging, like you
Yeah.
will be pushed. What would you tell someone who wants to get into this, who wants to try and make a living as an actor,
You have to
knowing
love it.
what you know? You have to
It has
love
to
it.
be yeah, it has to be everything you want in life.
Yeah.
And if there's something else you want, you will go do it. I promise you. You'll quit.
You'll quit.
It's you'll quit.
Yeah.
It's got to be your passion.
Yeah.
And it's a marathon. I think a lot of people want, in every industry, want things to happen right away. It never does.
Yeah.
And you got to treat your acting career as a marathon, and not only about the success of your acting career, but surrounding yourself, building your life around being an actor, which is why everything else that I do is freelance. So
Yeah.
there's the video editing and there's the content
Hmm.
creation, and it's building around that. It's supporting that. It's making money in other ways, so I don't feel certain type of pressure for my acting career to always perform. Right? You need to like build around that so that you can support it for life.
Hmm. Yeah. Okay. I want to get into social media because that's obviously something that has recently, exploded for you and has been supporting
Yeah.
you in your passions. But before we do that, I literally just had a flashback of doing improv in grade six.
Hmm.
Do you remember that? I used to
No.
love that shit. You don't? Are you kidding? You don't remember that? It was French class with
Oh God.
Madame. Uh,
Oh,
what was her name? It was like an
I know
English
her.
name.
I know. I picture her in my head, but I forget her name.
She was the only French teacher that called me Alyssa and not Alisa. I forget her name though. I should know her name. You don't remember that? Like
Oh.
you and me used to do like skits together, and she would do that. It was like an exercise in French class to help us like I guess like speak French and whatnot.
Mhm.
But growing up, I went to Ukrainian camp, like sleepaway camp, 2 weeks every single summer. My parents shipped me off, and they were like, "So long." And at every campfire, we would have like, there's like, I guess it's hard to like explain to an English person because all the words are in Ukrainian in my head. But we had like groups of kids, I guess. Like you're part of like each individual groups, like a what's the word in English? If you're Ukrainian, it's called a hurtok. Anyways,
Okay.
these groups of kids, and like I was part of this group. We were called like the sunflowers, sonyashniki in Ukrainian. And so at the end of every day, we would get together, plan a skit, and perform it at the bonfire. So I'm like literally just remembering back, like talking about acting. I'm like, I always love this stuff. I don't think I can necessarily be an actress, but doing those skits like at those bonfires in French class, which I can't believe you remember, especially because you're a freaking actor. But anyways, I digress. I have to share.
I remember high school. That's where I really started to
Yeah.
like gain a passion for acting because I started doing improv. Well, I started getting into acting because of my sister. She was doing improv and she was doing the plays in high school, and so that's why I kind of went into it because I really looked up to her. And
Mm-hmm.
then so here I am now, still
Wait, you
doing
said your
it.
sister?
Yeah, my sister. Yeah.
Is she an actress too or actor? No.
No, no,
Do you say
she was
actor or actress? Doesn't matter.
actor.
Actor.
I think they changed it at one point where just everyone's an actor.
Yeah, I kind of feel like I remember hearing something like that too, but people
Yeah.
still say both, so I don't know if I'm like being incorrect or anything. Okay, so social media, you have now built your following on Instagram, you're on TikTok too. Like,
Mhm.
when did this all start and when did you blow up? Was
Oh
it
wow.
was it Love is Blind time or was it before that?
Well, different for both platforms.
Okay, wait,
So what do you want? What do you want to know? Where do you want? Oh,
pause. My
okay.
husband just came home. We're
Okay.
gonna we're gonna close the door. He was supposed to be gone. We'll cut that out. All right.
So where do you want to what do you want to know? You want to know from the beginning, or do you want to know because it was different for both platforms?
Okay, let's talk about both then. What's the difference? What happened?
Well, I actually started on YouTube,
Really?
and then yeah,
Oh,
didn't go so well.
no. I feel
Again,
like YouTube is kind of like a difficult platform.
yeah, and I
No?
was also doing a different type of content. I
Okay.
so again, why I went into during the pandemic, I started
Mm-hmm.
making content. I needed some sort of outlet. I went to YouTube, and the first thing I thought of was, oh, I'm going to make content for actors to teach them how to shoot their own self tapes and stuff. So a
Interesting.
lot of like technical stuff about for
Mm-hmm.
actors
Mm-hmm.
and just like being an actor. So it was a whole YouTube channel about being an actor and what that means and just the ins and outs of it. It was so niche, it didn't do well at all. It got like
Mm.
500 followers, and I told myself like I'm going to do this for a year. I did it for a year, didn't really catch on. I knew that at a certain point I wanted to make comedy videos because I just wasn't having the passion for the content I was making. I was
Mm-hmm.
scared to make comedy videos though. I didn't think anyone was going to find me funny. And
Oh,
yeah, I was really scared. I was like, I don't know if I should do this. And
wow.
so, yeah, and then so at first I was making comedy videos, but again, niche to actor. So a lot of like actor, like being on set things, a lot of
Yeah.
actor jokes because I
Mm-hmm.
felt safe there because I was already making acting content.
Right.
And then that transitioned um into me putting videos on TikTok, just making skits and stuff and making videos. And so I did a year of that YouTube, stopped YouTube, went to TikTok, and then and also posting on Instagram Reels.
Mm-hmm.
TikTok took off pretty quickly because I guess that was early 2022. Yeah, early 2022.
Okay.
I
So it
started
was
getting.
still like a relatively newer platform. It's still kind of easier to go viral there than Instagram.
It is, but
Mm-hmm.
TikTok is weird. It's very hit or miss. It's like you have a video go viral or a video do nothing. And I find
Mm,
the sense of community isn't
the
really
same. Yeah.
isn't the same. As soon as my Instagram took off, I really felt a sense of community there. I really felt connected to
Cool.
all my followers. Yeah. And so
That's
yeah, so I was
interesting. Yeah, it's an
yeah.
interesting perspective. I've never like heard that before, but it makes
Mhm.
sense if if I think about it because like you said, some of those videos like they take off. I'm really not on TikTok, but every now and again I like post like literally in the like out of nowhere. And sometimes it'll get like 800 views and sometimes it'll get like 4.
Yeah, it's
You
so
know?
all over the place.
Yeah, and I have like
And a lot,
75 followers. Like it's definitely not like a platform that I focus on. I just like randomly one day was like, I'm gonna start posting random videos that I already created for Instagram, which I just it's for fun and literally no good reason. But
yeah.
yeah, I
But a
see
lot
the
of, I find,
difference.
yeah, I find too that it doesn't push it out to your followers either. Where
Mm-hmm.
on Instagram it does. It really values your followers. And I think too, for me, because of the type of content I make, which is skits and comedy videos, I'm not posting my life on my feed.
Yeah.
And so stories is where I actually post about my life,
Mm-hmm.
and it really connects my followers to, oh, this is a human. Like this is
Yeah.
a person that lives life and does things, and they're able to message me and comment, and I'm able to have conversations with everyone. And on TikTok, there's no really messaging your
Mm-hmm.
followers. So I
It's
think that's
true.
where,
Because
yeah,
when I think about it, like it's really a whole different character. Because like talking to you now, like knowing who you are and like seeing you in your stories and whatever, like you're like a chill, normal guy,
yeah,
And then you look at your videos and you're like this weirdo making faces all the time.
yeah, yeah.
Like you would have never thought like you're the most normal person.
Yeah, I play like just a goofball. I'm just a
Yeah.
goofball,
Yeah.
and I think that was another reason why I started making content too. My acting career is all dramatic. It's all really
Mm.
dark stuff. I never get to audition for comedy. I never get cast in comedy, and so I thought it was another opportunity for me to show a different side of my acting, and I really went there because I put
Yeah.
on wigs. I put on wigs and I just make really silly faces. Like I really went more slapstick, I guess.
Hmm.
But yeah, yeah. So TikTok took off,
Hmm.
um, and that was going on for, I guess, I don't even know. I guess more than a year, where TikTok was really my primary um, social media platform that I was building followers on,
How many
and I
followers do
only
you have now on TikTok?
like
You don't know how to
40.
check.
I stopped checking after a while.
Yeah.
40, 45K.
Okay, sick.
Yeah. And I only started gaining followers on Instagram like 3 months ago.
Yeah, I think it was Love is Blind time, right?
Oh yeah, that
Because
that took
that's
off
when
my
I
Instagram.
found you. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
took off my Instagram. I had 2,000 followers on Instagram 3 months ago.
Wow. So what made it just like randomly went viral and people started watching your stuff? Like, did you notice a pattern? Like, how did it happen exactly?
I knew that those videos would do well because
Hmm.
Love is Blind is I mean so popular. So
Hmm.
I knew that it was a chance to really get eyes on my videos. I didn't realize they were going to blow up. Like every video did a million
Yeah.
views.
Yeah.
It
Your
was
biggest one, it
crazy.
was like 9 million, right?
That's not even Love is Blind though.
It wasn't?
No, that's a
Oh
recent one.
yeah, 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 yeah. That was a recent one where you were like
Yeah.
drowning the doll, or like I guess the kid was because you're now reacting to other clips and like funny videos, whereas like initially your reaction videos for Love Is Blind. Were you reacting before Love Is Blind, or was that like the
No,
first reaction? Okay, so that's really what like set the tone, and then people love that. So now you're like, I'm gonna give them what they want.
that's all my social media is basically.
Yeah,
I'm doing stuff. I'm doing stuff. People will like something I do. I'm like, okay, we're gonna lean in that way, and we're gonna
yeah,
go full speed ahead.
yeah,
And then I kind of make content for with that type of idea in mind,
yeah.
and it's always evolving. It's always changing, and I think that's why I've been able to do it for so long. I guess I've only been doing it for a year and a half, but it is a lot when you're thinking about. I
You post
post
a
three to
lot.
four three to
Yeah,
four videos a week. It's a lot of work, and
yeah.
it's just a lot of time, and the hardest part is being consistent, as you
Hmm.
probably know. It's
Hmm.
the hardest part is to show up every week and to make those videos. And so for
Yeah,
me, I always need to. I can't just stay in one thing. I need to let my creativity kind of blossom. I need to let it go.
yeah.
If I put
It
myself in a
sounds
box, I won't do it.
Yeah. It sounds like your growth on social was kind of like unintentional, but when you saw what was happening as a result of
Hmm.
certain videos, you were very like strategic in the
Hmm.
way that you wanted to move forward and how you're, like I said, listening to what people were wanting and
Yeah.
liking and reacting to, and then you created content, continued to create content that other people would like because of what you recognize, which is cool, which is like kind of like a business mind, if you ask me.
That it's 100% that.
Yeah.
I especially with the Instagram because it took off with Love Is Blind. I was like, I knew what everyone wanted from me at that moment was they wanted me to be the cameraman in all these different reality TV shows. And I knew that if I let that happen, I wasn't going to be able to do anything else because I
You'd
was
be
going to build.
watching reality TV the whole time.
Well, I'd also only be allowed, but I'd be
You
building
would
a
put yourself
following.
in that box. Yeah.
Yes, I'd be building a following. That's all they want from me. And I
Mm-hmm.
knew that I had to pull the Band-Aid off after Love Is Blind. Even though I could have grown so quickly, I could have blown up, just been this reality TV cameraman guy.
Yeah.
But it's not what I wanted. So I
Yeah.
needed to find a way to kind of transition to other content, and that's when I started just taking viral videos and inserting myself into viral videos. And even
Mm-hmm.
now I'm changing. I'm making videos that are just me. It's just me making skits.
Yeah.
And I'm always testing it and seeing, oh, are people reacting to it?
Responding.
Do
Yeah.
they
Mm-hmm.
responding to it? And they are. So I'm like, oh, people just find me funny. It's not
Cool.
necessarily, yeah, it's not necessarily just what I'm doing, but
Yeah.
it could be anything. And
Yeah.
even when I was sharing my wedding and sharing just things in my personal life, I didn't know how those videos were gonna do. I didn't care because I was just posting it because
For
I want
yourself.
for
Mm-hmm.
myself, and it's an important day for me. And
Yeah.
so, but then those videos did so well, and that's when I realized, oh, I'm really building a community. I'm building people that really care about me,
Yeah.
and I didn't really realize that until I started posting a lot of personal stuff.
That's really cool. Honestly,
Yeah,
I'm so happy for you, and I hope it continues.
it's okay.
Oh,
It happens. I've done it before, where I've been recording something like on a camera, and you're like, oh, I don't know
you
if
didn't
I was
press record.
recording that to press record.
Oh my gosh. But you know what? I have faith. I have faith for anyone jumping in. If something sounds weird right now and we're like continuing our conversation in the middle of nowhere, we just had some technical difficulties and the video dropped off and I'm stressed. But we're going to move on and we're going to pretend like everything is perfectly fine because I have faith and I think it was okay. All right, where were we? What were we talking about?
We're talking about brand deals
Social.
or
Okay, we
how
were
do you
talking
make
about
money? How do you
social
make
brand.
money in
Oh yeah.
social media?
Okay. Wait a second. It's okay. I got another freaking notification. I'm getting all kinds of things happening. I'm still recording. I got a weird alert. Okay, we're good. Guys, this is stressful. Whoever said recording a podcast wasn't stressful? It's not normally, but today is just woof. Okay, let's talk about the monetization aspect. So we spoke about, okay, you're making money in the acting portion, you're making money video editing, but
Mhm.
social media is kind of like a funny thing when, especially when you're growing. It's like, are you really making money right now? Are you just growing, a following to eventually make brand deals and things like that? Because I've seen comedians collaborate with other brands and then do these like funny skits to help promote like whatever pizza or delivery service or a product, and like incorporate it. I've actually seen some guy do it for like a gym and he was making fun of like all the different people at the gym, like the different types of guys that work out. And it was super funny. So kind of like integrating his acting skills in these ads. So I'm curious to know, like, is this something you're looking into doing? Has anyone approached you or are we still working towards that?
I started getting brand deals when I hit 20K followers on TikTok.
Oh, you did?
And
Sick.
yeah, yeah,
Nice.
it came pretty quick. So it took about like 8 months, and then all of a sudden I got some brand deals. And the funny part is, I was about to quit. I was like, I don't know if I want to do this anymore.
Oh shit. Well, there you go. Good
Yeah,
timing.
yeah, but that's happened to me a lot in making content. There's so many moments where I'm like, oh my god, do I want to do this? And then something really good happens, and I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
the universe is telling me I should keep doing this. Yeah, so I did a brand deal uh, with with Taco Bell. I did a few with them, and then I did one with Hellman's mayonnaise. So
Oh, fun.
I've done it with some pretty big brands, and that's when I realized that there was money in this, because I didn't realize there was money in this until people started offering it to me. Because again,
Yeah.
I wasn't making this content for money. It just
Right.
all of a sudden started to happen, and then I
Hmm.
realized, oh, there's a lot of money in this.
Yeah. So
Um,
what's like a typical deal in terms of like how often you have to post, the length of the post?
mhm.
Are there specific things they ask you to mention? And then like what do they pay you for that? Because I know that there's like a creation fee, and then if they wanted to use it for ads, for instance, then there's like usage fee that's where you kind of can upsell.
Yeah, a lot of the times I just want to give like a one-time fee
Yeah.
for one video usually.
Hmm.
I'm I'm in a unique position too because of who my followers are. Um, so the 80% of my followers are women, and
Mm, interesting.
a large portion of that is millennial women.
Yeah.
So the usual influencer, if you want to call me that or whatever, is lifestyle who has
Hmm.
those followers. And so their content is so different from mine. I'm coming at this demographic so differently
In
than
a different
anyone else.
angle. Yeah, you're talking
Such
about
a
like
different.
a man your age, right? You're saying like a man your age is typically like has more like if they have female followers, it's because they're posting lifestyle content. But yours is very like comedy focused.
That's it. A lot of times, like going out, oh, this is my life, or going out for dinner, or stuff like that, right?
Hmm.
Lifestyle,
Hmm.
or mental health, or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And so all of a sudden, they see me as a content creator making these skits, and they're they're kind of interested. They're like, wow, and I feel like that's
Yeah.
probably why I was able to make money so quickly. And it was right off the bat for one video, it was 2K.
Sick.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. So it was right off the bat, and that's where I realized too. Oh, so the most money is in that demographic, or that those followers are where all these companies are trying to sell to, or majority of them are trying to
Hmm.
sell to, and that's where
Makes sense.
they're looking for content.
Yeah.
And so I was kind of fortunate in that sense, just because that happened organically. I wasn't trying to build a following like that. I made certain videos, leaned into those videos, ended up being, oh, it's all women that follow me. And I
Yeah.
love my followers. And so, so many people talk about having hate on social media. I have zero hate. It's so much love in my comment sections. Like it's always like so positive. And
Good. That's
and that's
amazing.
because of and that's because of who my followers are, right?
Yeah, it makes a difference for sure, honestly, having that community. There's a few influencers that I speak to as well. It's like if you're very particular in how like you curate and build your community, then you have all of the love. I think where a lot of the hate comes from is if you're more like a public figure or,
Mm,
if you've been on a reality show, you're just kind of
mm,
put in front of people that aren't choosing to look at you and
yeah.
consume you on a different level, like in this realm, let's say television. And then they find you on social and go and hate on you because they have nothing better to do with their lives. But when you're just focused on building on social, chances are the people following you are following you because they like what they're seeing. Unless, let's say, you post something controversial, it goes viral, and then you might get some pushback there. But I mean, you're just making people laugh. So like
That's it.
what can go wrong, And
Yeah.
like
How
especially
much
the
hate
fact
could
that
I
it's
get?
yeah, it's like you made a weird face. Shame on you. I mean, yeah, it's kind of hard to like get mad at you for something, I guess, eh?
and
That's
yeah.
cool.
And, yeah. And so I also, because a lot of the times these agencies have these campaigns that they're trying to put out, and they have these scripts for these lifestyle content creators, and they know I can't do that script. They give me, most of the time they give me so much freedom to make whatever I want.
Nice.
It needs, obviously there's certain guidelines, don't say this, don't say that.
Yeah. Tick
But
some boxes. Hmm.
because I'm creative, and because I come at it at a different angle, they can't ask me to do the same thing as all these other creators, right?
Hmm.
And I'm also, I that's my favorite part. I love making videos about products. I love coming up with concepts on how can I mend them together where it doesn't feel like an ad, and it
Yeah.
just feels like this funny joke. And I'm really good at that. And so I actually love when campaigns reach out to me, because then I'm actually don't have to come up with
Your own
an I
content. Like, yeah, that's
my
it.
own ideas, right?
Hmm.
They're giving me a product, and I have to make a video around that and make it funny and make it entertaining and make people want to watch. And
Hmm.
I'm really good at that because I'm a video editor, but I'm a video editor for a freelance video editor for TV commercials.
Mm-hmm.
And so short form and selling product and making things look good. And it's something I'm really
It's
good
a little
at.
more fun. Yeah, it's a
It's a
little
lot
more
of fun.
fun and a little bit more
Yeah.
creative than like the cut and dry, like put the clips together with like the lower thirds and the end card and call it a day, you know?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And it's like you need to be super creative, and that's what I've that's like my superpower is like I
Yeah.
can be I'm able to go there, and I'm able to make things so unique.
Mm-hmm.
And so getting the chance to do that and then getting paid to do it is crazy to me. I was like, whoa, there's money in
Yeah.
here. There's money.
No.
People, you know, people want me to make videos for their
Yeah.
Taco Bell, you know?
And imagine like you have 45,000 followers, which is still like honestly impressive. But imagine people with like 1 million, 2 million, 3 million.
Oh,
You
yeah.
got paid $2,000 for one post with 45,000 followers. Imagine how that scales up. The bigger you get.
And that was actually,
like it's a joke.
It was only 20K at the time. It was only 20K at the time.
There you go. There you go.
Yeah.
So now
and that was zero.
Double it up.
And that was like, there you go. And that was only 2K followers on Instagram. So they didn't even care about my Instagram at that time.
Yeah.
But now my Instagram
you have something else to leverage.
Well, my Instagram is I feel like my Instagram is gonna pass my TikTok followers. And and I feel like it's worth more anyways. I feel like just the sense of community there is way deeper. So it's gonna in the next month it'll for sure pass.
Do you think that some people kind of like jumped back and forth? Like if they were following you on TikTok, they followed you on Instagram, or do you feel like they're completely separate followers?
It's so separate.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It's so they're not even connected because people spend their time on. Like I spend my time on both because I'm a content creator and I like to see what's going on and kind of get inspiration from things. But most people spend time on one of them. They're not, you know,
one more than the other. Or let's say if you are spending time on both, you're not necessarily wanting to see the same content twice. So like,
exactly.
Yeah. For me, like the things that I would follow on TikTok, for example, versus Instagram, like Instagram is very lifestyle for me, inspiration, travel, like really cool, like video editing. Whereas TikTok is more kind of like comedy and like just like stupid shit, or like sometimes like house inspo or whatever. Like I feel like it's like a visual Google sometimes. Honestly, it's like an elevated Pinterest, actually. It can be if you use it right.
Your Instagram?
No. Well,
no,
I guess
TikTok.
Both. I was thinking
I guess both,
TikTok more. Yeah, I guess both. But I feel like the search and like the quality of what you get on TikTok is better than Instagram. I feel like some things on Instagram you search and it's like kind of outdated or just like
their search is not good.
Relevant. Yeah.
TikTok search is very good.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like when I search something on TikTok, I usually see what I was expecting and wanting to see. Whereas when I search something on Instagram, as silly as like nails, like nail art or whatever, when I go to do my nails, I find it like hard to find good shit. Whereas like if you go on TikTok, it's usually like quality, you know?
Yeah.
It's
no,
different.
It's true. Like if you're looking for, if you're hanging out with friends, you're like, oh, did you see that video? And if you just, in TikTok, if you punch in like certain words from that viral video, it will pop up. Yeah. That does not happen on Instagram.
Yeah.
But
in general, they got to get their search game up if they want to compete. But I mean, if you look now, it's funny. I saw you post, I don't know if it was like today or some day where you're like, I can't remember the last time I posted a picture.
Yesterday,
yeah, I can't remember the last time I posted a picture versus a video, and it's like everything's just like turning to video. And I myself too, like I used to be the girl who needed like the perfect picture because my content's very like travel focused on my personal account. And I almost prefer now that it's video because like I don't have to stress about the perfect shot. I take all of these little snippets of like essentially B-roll, you know, pull it together and it makes like a fun story. And like it's a memory for me more than anything. I don't do it for anybody else. If people want to follow my life, like I know that I have like tempo and I know when to like change the clip or whatever to the beat.
Cut, basically.
Yeah, exactly. Which like they don't make it the easiest. But are you editing on Instagram or are you using like CapCut?
No, so I edit in Premiere.
Premiere. Oh wait, yeah, for your clips, I guess it's different than what I do because you have a green screen.
I use all green screen, and it's just like it's where I learned to edit. It's so much easier for me to do it in Premiere, and then I just upload it to Instagram and TikTok.
I never really
Yeah.
learned Premiere. When I was in school, they taught us After Effects, and then
Hmm.
that's where I would go in and edit my videos because like oftentimes we would add like a graphic overlay or some kind
Graphics.
of animation. So I
Yeah.
never really went into Premiere because I didn't take like video classes per se, but I have incorporated video with graphics. So I was always with but it's been a long time since I've used that. Now like
So
I don't really.
so I taught myself Premiere because
Yeah.
I never went to like film school or anything like
Hmm.
that. I just taught myself through YouTube. And funny story, I'll just add this into what how I taught how I got into video editing again because of acting. I was like, well, I need to find a way to support myself as a freelancer and to not get a full-time job because that I don't want that. And so I learned how to edit by reaching out to those top 10 video companies on YouTube, like top 10
Mm-hmm.
this, top 10 that.
Yeah.
I never, first of all, I never used Premiere. I never edited anything ever. And I lied to them, said I did, created a fake top 10, voiced it, wrote it, made it look like oh yeah, I do this all the time. And then they hired me. And so
Amazing.
I, and so I, and so I learned how to edit by editing top 10 videos for 2 years. I'm not saying it taught me how to edit creatively, but it taught me how to use Premiere because I
Yeah,
had to
the
use it so
basics.
much. I
Hmm.
did basics exactly. So
Yeah.
I probably do things very weird because I never, but I've been told that I'm very fast, like from agencies and stuff, that
Yeah.
I'm a very fast editor. I don't know how. I just taught myself weird ways, and
Yeah. As long as you know like all
yeah.
the shortcuts and stuff too. I found myself generally to always be like a pretty quick worker too. But I think
Hmm.
like once you're comfortable in a software and you know like the shortcuts on like the keyboard, this and that,
Yeah.
it's like you're not constantly searching for things. And then with the type of content you're editing, it's very repetitive in the sense like that you're putting the green screen, you're probably
Yes.
creating like a clipping mask and that's essentially it. I mean, maybe you're adding some text or something, but like for you, I think it's just like clipping, mask, and green screen for the most part, right?
Yeah, and that's where I'm actually transitioning a bit now, where some of my newer content that I've even the past month, where it's just me acting with myself, which I do a lot, but it's just
Yes.
me and
Yeah,
wigs and acting with myself.
yeah,
I've leaned into the fact that why am I not using the skill set that I have as a video editor, and so there's so much sound design now too,
yeah. Mm,
and just kind of elevating the edit because why am I not doing that? It's something that most people don't have, and I should
yeah.
lean into it. And
So
it's been working, so I'm like, oh,
So
okay,
when you're saying
again,
sound design, it's like when people kind of when you're essentially talking to yourself and you have like an interaction between you like your two characters, right?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So sound design, I'm more talking about like transition and build. So a lot of times I've my videos build to something, right? There is
Hmm.
a little story in all my
Right.
videos. It
Hmm.
builds to something. And so how do you create that tension? How do you how do you aid the story, right? And so a lot of that isn't sound design. Or how do you transition from here to here? It's certain sound
Oh
design.
yeah, the
Yeah. So it's like
transitions
that's
too.
like one of the most important thing in editing is sound design, and everyone it's not fun.
No.
It's no, there's just so many layers, and it's you just kind of get lost at a certain point, and it's not the most fun part of editing, but it adds so much depth to your videos for sure.
Yeah. What would you say is like your favorite part of being an actor, or like being on the journey you've been so far in building this career as an actor?
Oh wow. Huh. I think there's multiple things. I think once I started making content, I didn't realize I can make people's day by just making stupid videos.
Hmm.
But the amount of times people reach out to me and they're like, I watch your videos every day, every time you release, and it makes my day, it makes me smile. I was like, whoa, you can make little changes in people's lives,
Yeah.
and I didn't realize when I started that could be a thing,
Cool.
and it's an amazing thing. I mean,
Yeah.
to be able to do that, right?
Yeah.
Just by making videos. And then also I get to do what I love. That's the most
Important part.
important part. I
Yeah.
My life is filled with I do what I love and I pursue what I love as hard as that can be and as challenging as that can be. I've just always stayed on course. Even when, there are times where I'm like, maybe I should stop this. Maybe I should go get a full-time job, at an agency, or because I could easily do that as a video editor.
Hmm.
I have so much portfolio under my belt. I could do that even as a creative I wouldn't say creative director, but I feel like I have that ability to be creative with products, as we said. I have that
Yeah.
ability to like make creative content about products, and I feel like I could easily go in that way and make a really great career for myself, but
What
it's not
about
what I
even like
want.
a writer in a way? Like you can kind of write those scripts, right? Because you're talking about, being a creative director and kind of planning, conceptualizing what those
Exactly.
ads could look like. Would that be more in writing, would you say?
No, it's more
No?
of the overall concept of it. I
So
think
who does
writing
that? What
comes.
would be your job if you're the one coming up with the concept?
I have no idea, but it's someone's job. But that's the thing. I don't want it.
You don't want it. Okay.
I could do it. I could do it, and
Yeah.
I know I could do it really well. But again, it's just I know I would not like my life. I would be
Yeah.
pretty depressed
You'd get bored
if I
after a
did that.
while. Mm-hmm.
Not even just bored. I wouldn't enjoy my life. And
Yeah.
I've always, and I guess I've always gone in that direction of I'm gonna pursue my dream. I'm gonna pursue what I love, and no matter how hard it gets, I'm gonna keep doing it.
I love that. I love that. Okay, we're going to wrap it up. We always end the podcast doing what's called the mindful minute. So, this is, any piece of advice that you have for anyone listening based on, your experience so far. What would you want to leave them with?
I think I've touched on it a bit. I feel like it's about everything takes time. Anything
Mm-hmm.
worth doing takes time. We want things to happen right away. We all do, especially when you're pursuing something that you love. You want it to happen like this, but
Yeah.
it won't. And even if it does happen right away, you probably won't know what to do with it. and
Are you speaking
and
from experience?
no, but I've seen it happen. And so it's just if you don't have experience and you haven't been doing it for a while, if something good happens instantly,
Mm-hmm.
you might not capitalize on it. So
Yeah.
I think it's about the long haul, it's about the marathon, it's about if you want to make this your life and if you want to be whatever it may be, actor, content creator, or whatever someone's doing,
Mm-hmm.
you got to think like how can I build my life so that there's structure and that there's a foundation so I can actually pursue this, because it's not going to be all flowers and it's going to be great and things are just going to everything's going to happen right away for you. It won't. I
Mm-hmm.
guarantee you it won't. And there's going to be times where it's going to be really hard, and there's going to be times where you won't be making money, and how are you going to pay your bills and how are you going to do this? It's about building the foundation around your dreams for them to actually be, for you to actually
Tangible.
have tangible and to actually have success in the end.
Mm-hmm.
And that just takes time, and it takes trust, and it takes guts. You have to go for it.
Would you say maybe a little bit of luck too? Somewhere
Of course.
sprinkled in there?
Oh, of course. Luck is you need a little bit of luck in everything we do, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. If you do it long enough, luck will come, right?
Yeah. Exactly.
or
Preaching to the choir.
or you just got to be a little bit delusional.
I talk about that all the time.
Yeah, I mean, every actor is a little bit delusional. Every content creator is probably a little delusional.
I think anyone with a dream bigger than what an average person would think to be possible, you have to have that delusion. Because at the end of the day, anyone who's made it, in quotations, however you want to look at that, whether it's monetary success or fame or an incredible family lifestyle, whatever, however that looks like, at the end of the day, like like they all started in the same place. They all started,
Mm-hmm.
From a womb. They were a baby. They grew up with a family. Yeah, maybe some people have, I guess, a little head start depending on the family that they were born into. But so many self-made millionaires and billionaires came from very, very poor upbringings. So
Mm-hmm.
the way you were brought up doesn't necessarily set you up for success or failure. It's really you and what you believe. And like you said, having a little bit of delusion never hurt anybody. Like, I'm all for it. So be delusional, people.
Yeah, you have to believe that you are that person before
Yes.
you become that person.
Mm-hmm.
And for that you kind of have to be a little crazy, right? You kind of have to be a little loose screw somewhere where you're like, yeah, I am that person.
But if you surround yourself by other people like that, they're going to be like, yeah,
Yes.
totally, you are. And then, it just kind of helps you get there. Whereas if you're surrounded by people who don't believe in you, who are going to tear you
Mm-hmm.
down, who will mock you on your journey,
Yeah.
then, like, in my opinion, you shouldn't prioritize those types of peoples and friendships, because if you want to grow, you got to surround yourself with people who are excited and willing to be there with you along the way, whether or not
You're
that's
right.
what they want for themselves, you know, to at least have those people that believe in you too. Because let me tell you, there's a lot of like pushback and stuff that I received at certain phases when I started doing my own thing. And it's like, well, listen, you did
Hmm.
so good in school and you had such a good job. Like, why didn't you want to stay there? It's secure and blah, blah, blah. But like, do I want to live my life for security and be stuck at a 9 to 5? And I hated that. I hated that. So I created a different version of how I do what I love. And that gave myself the freedom, the flexibility to work from anywhere, you know,
Hmm.
the time that I wanted, whatever I put in, I get back, you know?
Exactly, for
So
sure, for sure. And that's incredible that you did that, because I feel like it's probably really hard to do that at a certain age. It's hard to make that switch. I don't know how old you were when that happened, but I just feel like I've always done
yeah,
that. I just
I've kind of always done that too. Like
okay.
if I think back, I when I was still in school, that's where I got my experience working in office and for other brands and stuff.
Okay.
And then I studied abroad for a semester in university, and that opened up my eyes to travel. And then from there, I basically just focused on my freelance career. So from like 2011 to 2018, while I was still in school, and then after I was freelancing. And then I just realized that it's limited to my time and my energy. So I built a
Hmm.
team in 2018 under the same premise. My entire team works on a freelance basis, so they have that exact same flexibility as I do. But yeah, I've always kind of just like worked for myself. Like I've tried working for other people. I didn't like it. It didn't last long.
Yeah.
You know, it was, they were all in like very like short bursts. I'm like, let me try here, let me try there. No, I hate it. I hate it. I hate it. Okay, doing my own thing.
No, that makes a lot of sense then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay, Sean, thank you so much for being on the podcast. It's been so great catching up. I feel like I want to keep chatting, but listen, people can't sit and listen to podcasts forever. So we are going to wrap it up. Where can people find you on social media?
Well, they can find me on Instagram, Sean.Colby, and TikTok, Sean Colby. Just if you put Sean Colby in any of these platforms, I'll pop up.
Yeah, we'll link you in the show notes and all of that.
There
Okay,
you go.
guys, hope you enjoyed this episode. Until next time, bye.